had them do?
The lesson was actually a review lesson for the test that we were getting ready to have. Usually, well, in the past, before we had started doing the disciplinary literacy, I did study guides. So we decided to do the concept map for this one. And so I gave them the vocabulary word for the whole unit, human body unit, and for them to do their concept map as their test review, so I could see if they were ready for the test and assess their understanding of the vocabulary and the concepts. They had to arrange the words on the chart paper. Then they had to start connecting the vocabulary words, making the relationships from one to the other, like circulatory system, respiratory system, blood, lungs, kidneys. So each one of the parts, each system plus the organs and the parts that are in the system, they had to start connecting and making all of those relationships and explain how each one was related to each other, what they did for each other. So they drew their lines, and on some of the lines they wrote their sentences, and in other groups they wrote their connection sentences on a separate sheet of paper. I gave each child a certain number of connections they had to make, and then I gave the group a certain number of connections that the whole group needed to make. And then any extras they made were like bonus ones for the group.
Each group is going to get a pack of index cards, some tape, then you have your chart paper and your markers. All right, your pack of index cards has our vocabulary words that we've used, or some of them, not all of them. You're going to arrange them on your chart paper to make your concept map. So you know to arrange the cards on your chart paper. Once you get them where you need to be, I'm going to give you tape for you to tape them down. Then you have to draw arrows to show how they're related to each other. Each person in the group is responsible for at least 2 arrows, because you know the arrows represent something else. The arrows will represent that relationship, and you're going to show that by writing a sentence for each one of your arrows explaining the relationship and why you put that. You must initial the part that you did. Now I said at least 2. You might need, some of y'all that have the 4, you might need more than 8 arrows, depending on what you see and what you want to write down. Okay?
So the heart is a muscle, right? The heart is a muscle.
But it's also, so that can be related.
I think the respiratory works with all of them, like all of them, because you need air and stuff to get moving.
All right, yeah, you do.
Do these 2 work together? I mean, because they're 2 different things. Like, that's solid waste and that's liquid waste. Do they work together?
How does it get the liquid waste?
What?
How does this one get the liquid waste?
Out of the water from that.
Okay.
Oh,
And then,
the waste, the liquid waste from the solid stuff goes.
where's those nutrients in that water go? Okay.
Yeah.
How does that liquid waste get to this?
What?
How does the liquid waste get to this? From here to here. How does it get there? How does it travel?
It travels. I don't
How does it get from the digestive system here?
large intestine.
All right. Where does that water go? What picks it up in the large intestine? So the blood picks it up here and then...
Travels there?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It proved, using the concept map will either tell you, do they understand the information or they don't understand, their level of understanding. If they're not at a deep level of understanding, they can't do the concept map. So that tells you you need to go back and reteach. You need to go deeper into those concepts so they'll be able to do it. But if they can do the concept map, they understand. They understand the vocabulary. They understand the relationships. So by doing the concept map, it tells you either they are at that level of understanding that they need to be, that supports the standards, or they're not quite at it, and you need to go back and make sure they get there. They don't use their notes. It's all their knowledge that they have got. That's what tells you if they understand it. If I gave them the notes, then that wouldn't show me their understanding. So they have no notes. They're just talking with each other. All they have are the vocabulary words themselves. So no notes, just their dialogue with each other.
Why did y'all arrange them this way? What made you decide to arrange them the way you did?
Because the heart is circulatory.
Okay.
We let Josh go.
No, but just me.
Okay.
And lungs and respiratory, and then it's integumentary, and the respiratory because they both have the skin.
Okay.
And then this works with this.
Okay.
So in
And
other
this works
words,
with this. This is in this system.
Okay.
in other words, we just randomly put them on the board.
All right. What about over here? Does stuff over here relate to stuff over there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're going to show me that with your arrows. All right. What made you decide to do them in this order?
Because it makes it easier.
All right. Tell me. Explain your process.
Because the integumentary helps with the skeletal, and the respiratory helps with the heart.
Okay.
And the circulatory helps with the lungs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think you can connect anything over here with anything over here?
Yeah.
Why did y'all decide to put the heart in the middle?
Because everything revolves around the heart.
All right. How?
Because the heart is like the main organ.
Because if your heart stopped pumping, then everything else
is
would
like,
stop working. Because the blood would stop working.
All right. So the blood would stop working,
Oxygen
and
wouldn't
and
go
you
to
wouldn't
it.
have your pathways would be like stopped because you have like a bunch of ways towards your heart, like your
Okay.
vessels.
Blood clots aren't good either.
no, they're not good. All right. Well, good. I like the way y'all are thinking. I like your process.
I was surprised. I had done something similar to that in the past, but not the exact same thing. And so once I explained to them what they were doing, and they all understood the whole concept behind it, and got them going, it amazed me. That was I was stuck for concept maps on that part, because each one of the groups they were asking each other, do you think this goes to this? What about this and this? And then when I would come to them, they would ask me, and I would just turn around and ask them a question back. Why do you think that? What do you think? Or a question about those vocabulary words. So I wouldn't tell them anything, and they would end up answering their own question and making those connections. And I could go around to each group. Some groups had to be prompted just a little bit more. They didn't want to verbalize as much. They didn't want to go as deep into it. But once I started prompting them, they started going deeper and deeper, and then I could see which groups were struggling, which were not, and then I could tell were we ready for the test or not. But it was amazing. I'm stuck on concept.
We need to decide what they go. The
Okay.
skeletal goes to the muscular.
Skeletal goes
Okay, I'm doing heart. That can be your line because you come up with it.
Does it only need to be
Heart
two?
and
She says no more.
Heart and muscular. Okay, can I do that? Can I write it?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, the skeletal and the lung.
Respiratory and lungs, right? Is that circulatory? Yeah, can I do that?
What's the circulatory?
Do it, Alicia, do it.
I'm sorry.
Can I do respiratory and lungs?
Yeah.
Integumentary and...
Okay, I'm gonna kind of move over here because
Can I do these two? Integumentary and skeletal? Yeah.
I'm just
No,
moving
wait,
over here.
ain't it integumentary and muscular?
What's integumentary?
That's the skin.
But the skin doesn't really connect to the muscle. I mean, it does.
But like, there's muscle before it's bone, you know?
But the muscle
But the
goes to the
skin-
muscular goes to skeletal, so that's good.
Yeah, that goes to that.
Oh, wait, I got
already
to
goes
do
to that. Oh, wait.
Digestive. What's the other? Respiratory.
This
So
is how-
the blood goes into the lung. The
Yeah.
oxygen goes into.
You can do digestive to
Yeah, it goes
respiratory
into the
and
bloodstream. Is that
You
what?
can do digestive and
bloodstream.
respiratory because they both like waste. It's like, but that comes out of different part. That comes out of that.
Okay, so Jalen, you need to do the digestive and the respiratory. Is it?
Wait, no.
Which ones? They connect.
That one in the lungs because you know how the respiratory.
One of
Digestive and lungs
Wait,
don't have any.
respiratory.
It's like your, I don't know.
These two would go because the skin covers the bones.
Tell me why you put the circulatory system in the middle.
Because the blood circulates throughout the body.
Alright, so if we didn't have the blood to circulate,
Then the nutrients wouldn't get to the places because it might not the nutrients and it wouldn't produce nutrients in your body. Yeah, because it wouldn't get any nutrients and stuff.
alright.
that map and those connections, that is the evidence. When you read the sentences and you see that they can understand that the kidneys and the circulatory system and in the digestive system and the circulatory system and the kidneys, all of those things are connected, and what each one does itself plus how it helps one of the other organs and parts of the system. So that's your evidence, their product. I thought that the lesson would be one class, and it ended up being more than one class because they went so deep into it that we took it over to day 2. So I moved the test for it because as long as they were going deeper and deeper, and at the end they kind of made it a competition who could find the most, and so it went 2 lessons, but it was worth the time to adjust.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to let you put your stuff together. And we're going to finish this tomorrow because I want us to finish it and be able to discuss these relationships that you have put down. I just don't want this to be something you did and we just hang up, right? Yeah. We need to actually discuss it because some of you have thought of connections that some of the other groups might have not, or different ways for them to be connected. So tomorrow we will finish this. So that gives you a little bit more time to think about it, doesn't it? Yes, ma'am. And then we will actually discuss it tomorrow so we can share our ideas with each other. Any questions before I start taking your...
I might mix, and since then I have mixed the groups up a little bit differently. Like my group of girls that you see a lot of their dialogue, they have a good relationship with each other. They talk with each other. So, since then I have mixed the groups up a little bit more. So I'll have maybe some of my quieter students with some of my more chatty students, so they can kind of work together and pull things out from each other. So that was one thing that I did change after that. Start with your lessons, start with your concepts, what your standards are, what your activities are, and then look through the strategies, use the formative assessment book, use our notebook that we have, and start finding the strategies that will be a comfortable fit into that lesson. Don't force them. Don't find one to force it. And if you do one and it doesn't work, it's okay. Do another one. Try that one again at a different lesson. Take time to explain to the students how to do the strategies. Model the strategies for them. Take that time out of your classroom to do that. And once they understand how to do it, it starts to flow a lot better.